Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. President Cyril Ramaphosa has placed the implementation of the National Health Insurance Fund on hold, pending a constitutional court ruling on legal challenges to the legislation. It has been nearly 2 years since the president signed the NHI into law, a measure aimed at providing universal, free and equitable access to healthcare for all. Several organizations have launched legal challenges against the Act, with the Constitutional Court expected to hear the matter in May. The applications stem from challenges asking the court to declare the NHI's public participation process constitutionally flawed. Presidency spokesperson Vincent Magwenya says the president has opted to wait for the outcomes of the legal showdown before proceeding with implementing the Act.
The Department of Health will continue in its constitutional responsibility to strengthen the health system and improve the quality of care. The department has also indicated that preparatory work has been ongoing, such as the improvement of health services, before any sections of the NHI Act are ready for commencement.
Northwest businessman Brown Mogotsi has been questioned on whether he really is a legitimate police crime intelligence asset. Mogotsi is responding to questions before Parliament's adhoc committee on police corruption today. Submissions have been made by various senior police officials who dispute Mogotsi's intelligence credentials. Mogotsi is alleged to be a central figure in allegations of corruption and political interference in the criminal justice system, but he insists he was a police asset that was registered and later deregistered on the crime intelligence system. Mahudzi says denials of his credentials are part of a plan to discredit him.
And how does Lieutenant General Khumalo comes in? I'm saying that because he's the divisional head of crime intelligence. It's amazing, it's surprising. Even one of the journalists asked me, how can a lieutenant general, a divisional commissioner does not know you, whereas you claim to be whatever? I'm saying he had to deal with Major General Lushaba to ensure that they discredit me. They even say they don't even know about me. That's where the fabrication comes from.
Residents from Coronationville and Westbury have taken to the streets today over water challenges. The disgruntled residents have blocked major roads with burning tires, saying they have not had consistent water supply for 3 years. Last year, Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero assured the residents that water would be restored, but residents say this never happened. Recently, most parts of Gauteng were hit hard by challenges following an explosion at a Rand water plant. During his State of the Province address last night, Premier Panyaza Lesufi announced that some parts of Johannesburg will remain without water until technicians have sorted out that issue.
The areas that remain stubborn and extremely difficult to resolve the water challenges are part of Westdene, Coronationville, Sophia Town, Melville, Emarentia, and some sections of Dorongo.
But community activist Candice Ghani says they simply do not want water tankers anymore.
There's no water in our taps at all. Hasn't been for 3 years. We've got to collect water from tankers. So it seems as though these subcontractors are paid at the expense of community. We feel like we're living in a rural area. We've got to boil our waters because we can't throw water into geysers. So we have to boil to have a bath. And it's been going like this for 3 years.
Let's stay with demonstrations in Cape Town. Various civil society groups have gathered outside the Good Hope Centre in protest against the city's auction of more than 50 parcels of public land. The properties going under the hammer are zoned for residential, commercial, industrial and mixed-use purposes. They will be made available for sale and lease on Thursday. Carlo Peterson reports.
The Good Hope Centre precinct and parcels of land in Mitchell's Plain, Atlantis, Sparrow and Goodwood are among the properties up for auction. After a brief protest outside the Good Hope Centre, about 200 land activists and members of various organisations, including political parties, are now making their way to the Western Cape High Court. Lawyers representing the collective of land activists have filed an urgent application to suspend planned auctioning of the city-owned buildings and land. Convener for Save Our Sacred Lands, Torik Jenkins, says the court application is just the beginning.
We'll be monitoring what happens in the court today, and there are a number of legal teams that will be standing by to see what other further kinds of action should be taken, should the ruling not be in our favour.
Opponents to the city auction say the municipality failed to do proper public participation before trying to get rid of the land assets. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News at the Good Hope Centre in Cape Town.
And in Iran, an army helicopter has crashed into a fruit market in the central province of Isfahan, killing 4 people. The pilot, co-pilot and 2 fruit vendors on the ground were killed during the accident. According to reports, the crash has been attributed to a technical malfunction. Iran has suffered several air disasters in the recent years, with officials complaining of difficulties in acquiring spare parts to keep its aging fleets in the air. Gold is trading at $5,172.43 an ounce. The rand is at 15.99 to the dollar, 21.58 to the pound, 18.85 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $71.49 a barrel.
Driving through the Joburg CBD, traffic is a bit sluggish heading towards Poisons. That's the M1 southbound between Jan Smuts Avenue and the Crown Interchange, while in the Mother City, there's slow-moving traffic on the M3 southbound approaching Newlands Avenue, and look out for those roadworks on the N1 outgoing. This is approaching Viaduct.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng with isolated showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 23 and 24 degrees, while Cape Town is also partly cloudy with a moderate northwesterly wind at a high of 25 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. President Cyril Ramaphosa has placed the implementation of the National Health Insurance Fund on hold, pending a constitutional court ruling on legal challenges to that legislation.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. You're with Mandy Wiener on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
On the show today, ANC fixer Mogotsi responds to allegations at the adhoc committee. Shadrach Sabir denies again that he is friends with Kat Matlala. A protest against water cuts in Westbury. Some parts of Joburg will be without power and water. And the MK party wants Shamila Batoy stripped of her pension and an inquiry into her fitness. All of that over the next hour.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app. DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Report on 702 and Cape Talk with me, Mandy Wiener. Don't you think it sounds like we need an app every day? Oh, wait, there is one to tell us if we have electricity or water. It seems as though parts of Joburg are persistently without water, and then it's like whack-a-mole. You know, where you've got to give water to one suburb, and then all of a sudden like another suburb goes out of water, and then there's no electricity. And it's like if you get both at the same time, then you're so lucky that you have water and electricity at the same time. But listening to the news report, it sounds like, oh, okay, the Panyaza Sufi said in the States of the Province address, these areas around Westbury, Emerentia, West Dean, you'll have no water for a while. And then we get a communication from City Power saying, oh, these areas are going to have no power for a while. So there's planned outages this week. Alex, West Bank, Far East Bank, Lombardy East, Finetown, Mountain View, Innerdale, Lenasia South. You've got no power this week. But it's okay because you'll have power the week after that. And then in March, Berea, Troyville, JP Town, Fairview, Doornfontein, it's your turn for no power. So you have to check every day if you have power and water. How do you run a city like this? The local government elections are going to be fire because there's so much at stake here when it comes to service delivery and getting the service delivery right, getting water and electricity. But there's no quick fix because a lot of this is long-term infrastructure collapse. And how do you remedy that overnight? Well, it seems as though there's a plan is the plan going to actually work? What is your lived experience of this? How frustrated are you? And for those listeners in Cape Town, I'm sorry that I'm going on a bit of a rant, but when you live in Joburg, and I'm in Cape Town all the time, and the lived experience is different for different people in Cape Town, I absolutely know that. But for Joburg, you've got to count yourself lucky if you have water and electricity on any given day. What did you think of the State of the Province address last night and what Panyaza Lesufi had to say? Send me a WhatsApp voice note, 072 7021 702, 072 567 1567. We'll speak about those various protests in Tembisa, in Westbury as well in the second part of the show. We start with the inquiries because that's also keeping us busy at the moment. The both inquiries at the moment. We'll start with the ad hoc committee because Brown Mogotsi is there, the alleged ANC fixer, finally having his day to respond to the allegations of police interference. Mogotsi's appearance comes after weeks of delays. He made several security demands that he wanted Parliament to pay for. So let's find out what he's been saying today. Babalo and Denze, EWN reporter, is there for us. Babalo, good afternoon to you. Thanks very much for your time. Take us through Brown Mogotsi's testimony so far.
Yes, indeed, Mandy. Brown Mahudzi appearing today for the first time after the delay that you've just mentioned. He's been briefing the committee about his background, really, as a business person, being asked details of what exactly he does as a business or an entrepreneur. Also being questioned about his, crime intelligence background or credentials. He told the committee that he was, a crime intelligence asset, since I think about 2001. Also a crime intelligence, or what you call it, an informant, as well as a crime intelligence, official or someone that is working with crime intelligence, but not necessarily an informant. And he's been questioned about this. The evidence leaders putting it to him that there are affidavits that have been submitted or deposed of in this commission or in this inquiry that question his credentials as a crime intelligence official. They say that he is not registered on the system. There is no trace of Brown Mogotsi on the system, and he's disputing this during his responses in this first session since we started, saying that these people are just trying to discredit him. Not all informants or assets of crime intelligence are found on the system. Some get registered and get deregistered in a different time or in a different year, depending on what's happening. So he's basically, defending these claims that have been submitted about his credentials. He's also made a number of submissions in his written statement, Mandy, where he's also making several allegations that they were discussing just a short while ago about Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, where he's alleging in his lengthy statement that General Mkhwanazi is working with Western interests, that involves King Misizulu. Also saying that, in execution of this mandate by the CIA, according to Mogotsi, Mkhwanazi on numerous occasions sent members of the political killings task team to intimidate and harass and try to murder members of the royal household. So he's being asked questions about issues that he's also raised at the Mpumalanga Commission, which are also around the CIA as well as his crime intelligence background. So that's where we are at the moment, Mandy. Just brief questions around this background, and Mogotsi might later on in the afternoon answer more questions about some of the issues that he's raised in his written statement, which are some serious allegations against Mr. Mkhwanazi. But just take a listen at what he said about his credentials, basically, and crime intelligence and how this was processed.
You see, now here, if you check it properly, he's talking about I was registered as an informant. Now, those are two things. Yeah, he's referring to me when I was informant. But the time when I became a contact agent, the registration is not done the same way as this one. It's done manually, and the file is kept by your handler, and everything, all your transactions, how you get reimbursed or assisted or paid, is done through cash from your handler all the time.
Babalo,
so an informant and a contact agent are not processed the same way.
Sorry, I was over-eager. Babalo, much was said about Brown Mogotsi's testimony at the Mpumalanga Commission, how he came across there. His credibility has been in question as well. How are the MPs dealing with him, and how is he coming across?
Yes, his Madlanga Commission testimony has been, focused on briefly at the beginning of his testimony or during his testimony now, Mandy. How he was called someone dishonest, he was called a liar at the Madlanga Commission. Also questioned about his date of birth and the ID numbers that he provided at the Madlanga Commission and whether these are correct or incorrect. So he is being questioned, by members of the committee who are seeking clarity questions around these two issues, his ID and his credentials, as well as some of the things that he told the Madlanga Commission. But the members will get to, ask him specific questions for their allotted time, I think of about 30 minutes each, after the evidence leaders. This is after 3 p.m. this afternoon, according to the plan, because he's only appearing for one day according to the schedule. So about the Madlanga Commission, the dishonesty, the lying about certain things will come up in more detail once the members of Parliament get given their allocation, Mandy.
Babalo, thank you very much. Babalo and Denze, EWN reporter, speaking to us there about Brown Mogotsi's testimony. Well, let's listen in live now to what's happening at the ad hoc committee.
Problem. But if it's an official OB that comes from SAPS through me as an agent, it has happened. Unless I don't know how to put it, but that's what happened.
Thank you so much, Chief. Are you aware of the National Instruction 2 of 2001 that basically governs what handlers and what agents are meant to do and how operations are meant to unfold? You are not supposed to be having information. You are supposed to be informing and providing information. Are you aware of the National Instruction? This isn't just done any which way. I've been listening to you the entire morning, speaking about rates, recruitment rates. There's no such thing. There's absolutely no such thing. We are governed here. We don't come here and we say this is how things work. You are recruiting people. People are working for you. It's like you are the SAPS member here. Your entire statement gives us the impression that you are a member of South African Police Service, which you are not. You are an informant, and you are governed by National Instruction 2 of 2001. It doesn't make sense, everything that you are telling us here all morning. My investigation, it is not your investigation. Speaking of your informants, there was a problem, there was a flat rate, there was a standard rate, there was a recruitment rate of 1,200 Rand. No, there's no such thing. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Mr. Mahudzi. The honourable member and myself, we are in two different worlds. I can show you, it's just that I cannot give you names, but I have 10 handlers who can corroborate how much informants have been paid, how many have decided to quit. It even happened in my hometown, where they discovered more than 30 laptops and he was given 500 Rand. He threw it to those police officers. I can hear it's referring me to a particular act of the law, which laymen like me will just work with his handler, get information, work on that. And these informants are not recruited by me, Chairperson. You get to identify him, tell your handler. Your handler will probably even talk to another detective in another town about this information and say there is an informant that side. You get that there is an informant who's staying maybe in Langa, but he's not in good relationship with the police in Langa.
So that's Brown Mogotsi. I'll tell you why I'm laughing. He's responding to Dereline James, who she was the person questioning him. But Brown Mogotsi's wearing this white dinner jacket. And Oren Singh, who's coming up next, just reminded me about that time that Boy Mlambo was wearing a white dinner jacket in the debate in Parliament. And Mbuyiseni and Dlozi stood up and said, "This isn't our perfect wedding." That's what Brown Mogotsi looks like today in his white dinner jacket. I love this country.
702. Mandy Wiener.
Weekdays, 12 to 1 p.m.
Okay, so fun and games happening at the ad hoc committee today, where Brown Mogotsi is getting grilled by MPs. Shadrach Sabir is still under cross-examination at the Mpumalanga inquiry today. Oren Singh, you watching that one for us. Are the same kind of fireworks there, or are things a bit muted? More decorum always at the Mpumalanga inquiry.
More decorum, I suppose. Shadrach Sabir would wish he was at a perfect wedding as opposed to sitting at the Mpumalanga Commission. He's getting a bit ticked off, if I could put it that way, Mandy. He accused evidence leader advocate Adila Hasim a short while ago of being arrogant. He's interrupted the co-commissioner, advocate Ceci Beloy, claiming that she's not giving him a chance to defend himself and that she's one-sided, essentially. So things are getting a bit heated. And we've seen that Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga had to step in on several occasions because I think Shadrach Sabir goes off on a bit of a tangent when asked a question and kind of reroutes as opposed to answering directly. And this has been an issue that the commission has taken with him since he started his testimony last week. He's on day 5. One of the main things to come out of today is that relationship he has with his subordinate, Sergeant Fani Nkosi, who was seen as this middleman relaying messages
He's
between
the BMW driver.
BMW driver, Witness F, essentially, but now they kind of figured out everyone in the country knows who Witness F is.
I saw people were naming him yesterday. Is that okay now?
Yes, so Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga essentially last week said it's already out there. The public knows Witness F is Sergeant Fani Nkosi. So I think they've really taken the stance to just name him as Sergeant Fani Nkosi going forward. But they've really concentrated on this relationship Sabir had with Nkosi, who was seen as this middleman relaying messages between Sabir and Vuzimuzi Cat Matlala.
Okay, so how much longer is this going to continue, and what are we still waiting for? Is there terrain that hasn't been covered yet? Because we're on day 5?
Day 5, I don't think there's much more to go on. It's simply this relationship that he's had with Sergeant Nkosi, knowing full well that in most occasions when he would send something to Sergeant Nkosi, that message would find its way to Vuzimuzi Cat Matlala. And in one instance, the commission taking issue with a confidential report that was sent to SAPS management, that Shadrach Sabir took it upon himself to forward that report to Sergeant Nkosi. That report itself concerned Vuzimuzi Cat Matlala's 360 million rand contract. And so essentially Sabir would know that Sergeant Nkosi would send this on to Matlala, and the commission taking issue with knowing full well that that would be the case, and he still went ahead and did it.
Okay, Oren, thank you very much. Oren Singh, EWN reporter. Let's listen in live now to what's happening at the Mpumalanga inquiry.
Facts. As I've sketched them out, they were at your house, you invited Matala, you invited Shibiri to your house. Shibiri had an interest in Matala being there. We know from their communication where he asks Nkosi, where is Matala? So I've put these facts to you, and then I say, well, the conclusion to draw from that is that you knew, one, that Nkosi will alert Matala about Mr. Matala about this audit recommendation to terminate the contract. You knew that. That's why, that's the purpose you sent this to him. 2, you expected that he will share it amongst your circle of friends, which is General Shibiri. And the chair is saying, well, that's inferential reasoning from the facts that we have.
Yes, Chair, if the chair is to make that inference, quite honestly speaking, that one is beyond my control, and I don't think it's something that I can also argue with, because the discussion all along has been consistent.
Thank you.
So that's live from the Mpumalanga inquiry, where General Shadrach Sabir, is still under cross-examination.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a nervous but excited first-time driver waiting for the perfect gap to switch lanes. I can do this. The pressure. The Outsurance pointsman know it's not just a car in traffic. It's a sense of freedom and independence on the move. Every story is different, and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005, in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Back to side, back to business, back to getting the job done the way you like it. Join us from the 22nd of January to the 1st of March for the Chamberlain Back to Business promotion and get excited by incredible offers. From paint and power tools to in-store board cutting and edging, you'll have everything you need to start your year off the right way. Plus, with our wide range of rugged sideware, you'll be comfortable doing it too. Chamberlain, famous for hardware since 1903.
I heard her interviews run smoother because she somehow finds the right people the first time around.
Yeah, it's like she already knows who fits where before they even sit down.
She must have gone for special training, like some Sixth Sense HR certificate.
No, guys, it's SA Youth, the largest youth online recruitment platform. It's fast to post, effortless to use, and effective every time.
Recruit on the portal to potential. sayouth.co.za. Powering South Africa's youth workforce.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za. WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Mandy. It's KB here from Tembisa. On the issue of the strike in Tembisa yesterday, the reason is the municipality was cutting or suspending services to the residents of Tembisa. They always focus on Tembisa, Mandy. I don't know why. You can go to a Catharas, Mandy. Those residents are paying nothing. They only focus in Tembisa. I don't know why. Just ask one official from the Ekurhuleni municipality. Why are they focusing only in Tembisa, not Catharas? Cheers, Mandy.
We'll speak to the MMC about that, so I'll be sure to ask him about that as well. Molebo says, hi Mandy, we regularly have power outages in Ekurhuleni. Sure, I'm sure. And then Anonymous says, without naming me or where I live, I can tell you Bryanston is no better. We have no power today. Water is turn on the tap thing. I bet you will wake up and look at the neighborhood group to check for chit-chat, although it's one day though. I'm not sure why you're speaking about a week now. I'm nervous. What did I miss? And then, sorry, I said Boy Mlambo. It was Boy Mamabolo. I was too busy laughing earlier on. So thank you for that correction. Who was wearing the white dinner jacket that I was telling you about. And then, damn, she took him to task. Mogotsi is up the creek without a paddle here. Talking there about Daryline James. Thank you very much for all of those messages coming through.
702.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Let's walk the talk.
Yesterday, I told you about the Hawks raid in Mpumalanga, where 27 people were arrested in connection with a 100 million rand fraud and corruption case involving the education department. More people have now been arrested. This is all related to tenders for the repair and maintenance of 21 schools in Mpumalanga. Nhlanhla Mabaso, EWN reporter, joining us now. Nhlanhla, good afternoon to you. Tell us about the additional people who have been arrested.
Well, good afternoon, Mandy. Well, they just added to the dock. There's now a total of 36, but you'd recall that 4 of them yesterday were granted bail ranging from 5,000 to 50,000 rand, and these were people that had, very serious health conditions, and this was proven in court with medical certificates and all. But today you have a total of 33 applying for bail, but because of the number of the accused persons, Mandy, the court has decided that a group of 10 starts. Their bail is about to be concluded. Now we're waiting for the magistrate to come back with a decision, but what we do know is that the state is arguing that they should be given at least 50,000 bail, all of them, so that they do not forfeit their money in case they flout the bail conditions. That's according to state prosecutor Pranishna Jagannath, who says if they are charged that money for bail, they will then adhere to any bail conditions that they are given. But what we do know so far, Mandy, according to the Hawks, is that these people formed a scheme just to defraud the Department of Education, because they say that they set up an emergency tender to do repairs and maintenance at 21 schools in the province, which was not the case according to the Hawks head in the province, General Nico Reba. He says this was just a scheme to loot this money. Let's take a listen.
The charge sheet will differ vastly from just a fraud and a corruption charge. There's money laundering charges, there's preca charges, so there will be a lot more charges that will be leveled against some of the accused. Some will have 1 or 2 charges, others might have 5 or 6 charges. So until you have the charge sheet under eyes, you will not really understand exactly who, but if you sit in court, those charges will be read to them and it should be clear to you from that point onwards what will be happening in court. As we indicated, the service providers were handpicked and the supply chain processes were circumvented. In some instances, minor work was done. Some instances, no work was done. And some instances, there was no work needed to be done, but it was part and parcel of the process that was used to then generate this money.
Thank you very much to Nhlanhla Mabaso, EWN reporter, for giving us an update there on those people who have now been arrested, appearing in court today in connection with that 100 million rand tender and fraud and corruption case in Mpumalanga. Hey, I just want to give you some breaking news quickly. There seems to have been some sort of an incident at Cape Town International Airport, that there may be a small fire that they're dealing with, and some of the planes are being affected. Nokokani Amtambo, our reporter, is on one of the planes. They're not allowing people off. So you might have some delays coming either into Cape Town or leaving Cape Town. We're going to try and get airport authorities on the line, but just be alert that if you're on your way to fetch somebody from the airport, or if you've got a flight that is either heading to Cape Town or from Cape Town, you might have some delays. We'll get you more information on that. 12:31, time for Eyewitness News headlines.
Thanks, Mandy. Good afternoon. Police have been deployed to monitor the tense situation in Coronationville after residents barred a water tanker from attempting to deliver water to that area. Frustrated residents from Coronationville as well as Westbury have blocked major roads near the Rahima Musa Hospital today. They say for years they've had to endure inconsistent water supply. Northwest businessman Brown Mogotsi has been questioned on whether he really is a legitimate police crime intelligence agent. Mogotsi has been responding to questions before Parliament's ad hoc committee probing allegations of police corruption today. Submissions have been made by various senior police officials who dispute Mogotsi's intelligence credentials. And firefighters in the Cape Winelands district are currently battling 2 active fires in the Langeberg area. The first blaze is burning in the mountains above Rooiberg Cellar outside Robertson, while another is active about Mooiplas along the R62. The Cape Winelands District Municipality says both the fires were sparked by lightning over the weekend. Well, those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 1 or as it happens.
EWN Sport.
A very good afternoon. I'm Tato Moloto. 2 heavyweight clashes light up the Betway Premiership tonight. Mamelodi Sundowns looking to draw level with Orlando Pirates when they come up against AmaZulu. For the Glamour Boys, Kaizer Chiefs, they seek redemption against Stellenbosch at the FNB Stadium. And with the co-coaching setup at Nigeria, it sometimes feels like you must flip a coin before you know which coach is speaking to you. And today, that coin landed on Khalil Ben Youssef.
We got time this week to prepare properly the game, to make a properly training session. And I think that the team is ready to continue to fight. About the game of tomorrow, I think it's the 4th game against Stellenbosch. We know the team, we know the quality of the team, we know the mentality of the team, we know the coach, we know also the idea and what's the positive thing and the negative thing for this team.
Both games kick off at 7:30. More football in the second leg playoffs of the Champions League. Inter Milan against Bodo. Olympiacos with Leverkusen, while Atletico Madrid up against Bruges, tied on aggregate, and Newcastle a 5-goal lead they have going into their game with Karabakh. Meanwhile, the T20 World Cup had Pakistan with England at 3:30 today. Yesterday, Zimbabwe lost by 102 runs to the West Indies. Here's Justin Salmons, the head coach of the Zimbabwe national team.
From a boundary size point of view, I think it's probably one of the biggest differences. I think a lot of those, a couple of mishits will go for 6. They'll be out in Sri Lanka. I think that's a big difference. Obviously, the ball comes onto the bat a lot better. So certainly, I think that's probably the biggest difference. And for Zim, a lot of the cricket over the last couple of years has been played in Harare. And Harare is a really big ground, so again, it's good learning.
In rugby, there is hope for Dion Fourie, who might make his long-awaited return from injury on Saturday when the Stormers enter the Lions' Den at Ellis Park. Finally, in boxing, 11 years after their first mega fight, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather are set to square off again this September. Yes, you did hear right. Mayweather has now come out of retirement 3 times, proving that in boxing, retired just means see you soon. Tato Moloto, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you're heading through the Joburg CBD, there's slow-moving traffic. This is on the M1 southbound between Empire Road and the Crown Interchange. Also heading towards Midrand, leaving the Marlborough area. Traffic a bit sluggish. On the N3 northbound between Marlborough Drive and the Baclue Interchange. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in Edenville at Modderfontein Road and Laurie. While in the mother city, there's slow-moving traffic. M3 southbound approaching Newlands Avenue. And roadworks also slowing down traffic N1 outbound approaching Viaduct. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
New deals for the Checkers extravaganza are here. Save extra on top picks like Be Well Pure Canola Oil 2 litres for $69.99. Save 20 Rand. Jacob's Cappuccino Sticks 10 per pack, any 2 for 110 Rand. Save 40 Rand. And Pampers Jumbo Pack or Premium Care Value Pack nappies or pants. Buy any 2 and get a third free. Save 33%. Valid until 1 March. Only at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060.
Different sounds, different worlds.
Different artistic expressions, music, art, and fashion collide. Are you coming? Let's go to the place where the beat drops, the fashion pops, and the art rocks.
We're talking Focalistic, Daliwonga, Mafigi Zolo, Kurt Darren, Maclara Doughboy, Zoe Mudicha, Claire Johnston from Mango Groove, the Tswani Gospel Choir, and more. Mahindra Fusion Fest, Saturday 7th March, Sunbet Arena. Tickets on Ticketmaster now. See you there.
February is Rare Disease Month. Everyone deserves equal opportunities and access to healthcare. But for those of us with a rare disease, we are more likely to face misdiagnosis, treatment inequality, and isolation. This Rare Disease Day, light up in solidarity with over 300 million people living with a rare condition. Visit rarediseases.co.za.
702 was in conversation with Standard Bank Corporate and Investment Banking, discussing the African Markets Conference 2026.
This is the second year we're hosting it in South Africa. It's an event we previously hosted internationally, where, as you correctly put it, we bring together policymakers across the continent with allocators of capital which are based both in the continent and, more interestingly, globally. And that is really to do a couple of things. First is to connect them and the capital to some of the large infrastructure gaps that require large swathes of capital across the continent, but also equally for the regulators to hear directly from investors in terms of the environment that they require to be able to show confidence in allocating this capital.
Standard Bank CIB, host of the African Markets Conference 2026, engaging with leaders, turning ambition into investable action on 702.
And now, it's back to Mandy Wiener on the Midday Report.
This is 702.
Let's walk the talk.
12:38 on the Midday Report. As I mentioned just before the news, parts of Cape Town Airport have been evacuated. News 24 reporting after a fire broke out in the building near the international terminal earlier today. Our reporter Nokukanya Mtambo is on a plane at the moment, as I understand it, who has been telling us about what is going on. So there are concerns about planes taking off from Cape Town International Airport and planes arriving as well. Parts of the building were filled with smoke. It was suspected that it was an electrical fire. We're trying to get somebody from AXA on the line to you to give you more information. But again, just be aware if you are heading to the airport or if you know anyone who is on a flight from wherever it may be to Cape Town. There seems to be a developing story coming out of Cape Town International Airport. I will try and get you as much information on that as possible.
702.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Let's walk the talk.
The presidency has also issued two statements. The one is on the NHI. The other is on these MK recruits that were sent to Ukraine. So I'll tell you about both of those. The first one on the national health insurance litigation. So that we know that there's a lawsuit, or several lawsuits at least, against government on the NHI. So the presidency is saying that the litigation has necessitated that the president, following consultation with Aaron Motsoaledi, the health minister, has agreed to delay the proclamation of any sections of the National Health Insurance Act until the Constitutional Court has handed down its judgment. That matter is due to be heard on the 5th to the 7th of May. So a delay on NHI, no real surprise there. It was always going to happen. The other statement is the president has welcomed the return of the South African men who were lured into the battle lines between Russia and Ukraine by South African elements that remain under investigation. The South African government, working closely with the Russian government, has secured safe return of the men. This followed receipt of distress calls for assistance. So 17 of them have been assisted to return home. As I understand it, 4 have actually arrived back. The other 11, no, not the other 11, the other 13. How's my maths? Are en route. 4 back in the country. 11 will be on their way home soon. 2 remain in Russia, with 1 in a hospital in Moscow, while the other is being processed before finalizing his travel arrangements. Also thanking President Putin as well. President Ramaphosa has expressed his heartfelt gratitude to President Vladimir Putin, who responded positively to his call to support the process of returning the men home. Those statements there from the presidency.
702. 702. Mandy Wiener.
Weekdays, 12 to 1 p.m.
Let's bring you a quick update now from Cape Town International Airport. Nokukanya Mtambo, EWN reporter. Nokukanya, where exactly are you? Are you on a plane? Nokukanya? Are you with us? Okay, let's try to sort that line out. I understand she's been speaking to my producer. We'll get her back so that we can let you know what's happening at Cape Town International Airport. While we wait for that to be sorted out, let's speak to the MK Party's acting parliamentary leader, because they've gone to court to have Shamila Batoy, the former head of the NPA, lose her pension, and also for an inquiry into her fitness. Des van Rooyen is the MK Party acting parliamentary leader. Des, good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time. Firstly, if you don't mind, I'm going to ambush you with a question quickly. The presidency issuing a statement in the last few minutes on the South Africans returning from Russia. I'm sure the MK Party happy to see that happen.
Yes, indeed. We are very happy, as we have indicated in the past, that the safe return of South Africans is a very important aspect to the party.
Okay. All right. So you have gone to court to have Shamila Batoy stripped of her privileges, of her pension. You want an inquiry into her fitness as well. Why is this?
Well, we have issued a formal demand to the President of the Republic and the National Director of Public Prosecution, Ms. Shamila Batoy herself, formally demanding that the presidency must immediately withhold the pension, gratuities, and post-tenure benefits of the NDPP. All this happens because of what transpired at the Nkabinde inquiry. The inquiry has already placed before the public prima facie evidence that raises grave concerns to us about the NDPP fitness for office. Entirely, this includes her failures relating to the handling and safeguarding of sensitive prosecutorial matters. And of course, contradictory testimony that she issued under oath. And it's our take that no public office bearer, least of all the head of prosecution, is entitled to walk away with generous post-tenure benefits while actively evading accountability. And we want to emphasize to the public that a pension and related benefits are not an automatic entitlement. They are a contingent of lawful ethical and good service. Where serious misconduct is credibly alleged, as it happening at Nkabinde Commission, the state is not only entitled, but constitutionally obliged to post payment properly resolved. So accordingly, we have demanded the President to withhold pension, gratuity, and post-tenure benefits pending the determination of Mr. Batoy entitlement. But the President didn't listen to our demand, because we placed this demand to him on the 30th of January, and then put him on terms that if he doesn't respond on the 4th of February, we will then proceed with litigation. That's what we are doing now. Now we have approached the court and we have filed for litigation today.
Is the court the correct forum for this?
Look, legally, the President is the one who's supposed to do this determination and subject this matter to due processes. But then he failed to respond. Even the NDPP, the pension fund, all the responsible bodies of government failed to respond to our demand as MK Party. And that's why we are resorting to court as a last option for us to ensure that the court enjoins them to do their work.
And would the MK Party have locus standi? Do you believe that you do have standing here to bring this matter to the courts?
Definitely, we believe that we do. I mean, it's our responsibility, more especially as the caucus of MK Party in Parliament, public representative, to hold anyone utilizing the public resources accountable. And we are doing that as part of our duty. I mean, there's no way in which public resources can be utilized when people are failing to account on the responsibility that are assigned to them.
Des van Rooyen, MK Party Acting Parliamentary Leader, thank you very much for your time speaking to us there about the MK Party's move to the courts to have former National Director of Public Prosecutions, Shamila Batoy, not to receive her pension payout and an inquiry. Lots of messages. Spokesman for the day, Des van Rooyen, I came over all nostalgic. Cedric says, hi Mandy, Des van Rooyen speaking on fitness for office-ish. And then he said, somebody else says, he said that no one must leave public office with benefits if they need to still be held accountable. What about half of everyone as well? What about MK Executive and Zuma? Oh, good point there, actually. Thanks very much for all of those messages.
702, the Midday Report, Monday to Friday.
12 to 1 p.m.
Okay, let's speak about water and electricity now, because there are protests underway today. There were protests yesterday as well. Also communication that certain parts of Joburg will be without electricity in the coming weeks. City Power has scheduled maintenance repairs and planned outages at various substations. So let's keep you informed of this by speaking to Noel Masso, who's the Group Head of Operations at City Power. Noel, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time. Tell the people what is planned for Joburg.
Good afternoon, Mandy and 702 listeners. With regards to the planned outages, right, for the rest of February as an example, right, we have a remaining 12 planned outages, right, which will each last a maximum of 8 hours each, right? And this will go throughout the various regions in the city of Johannesburg. And I must say that so far we've been doing well, because our current performance on the planned maintenance, we had 180 outages planned for Feb throughout the COJ area. And so far we are remaining with only 12. And I needless to say that these outages are very necessary in ensuring that we can at least ensure, reliable supply to our citizens through our aged network, as everybody is aware that recapitalization is a bit of an expensive route. So what we then do as a strategy is to ensure that at least we prolong the lifespan of these aged equipments through planned maintenance activities.
So we understand that maintenance is necessary, and a lot of these problems are long-term infrastructure problems. What you've done, though, is given us a week-to-week list of suburbs that are going to be affected, which is useful for people to plan. You're also sharing the pain around a little bit. So the repairs begin at Alexandra substation tomorrow. Power will be out from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Just talk us through which areas and then how you choose the areas and how you rotate them.
Okay. All right. So thanks, Manny, for that question. So what happens is that obviously, we're not in a situation where we can switch off the entire substation, which would take out the entire area. And the approach is that we go through distributor per distributor. Hence, you'll find that certain suburbs are affected and others are not, right? So within the Alexandra area tomorrow, I'm absolutely sure that we'll be taking out a distributor, which should affect quite a few number of suburbs. And I'm sure that our communications team has already sent out that communication because we have to advertise for 21 days. So with regards to the actual suburbs that will be out tomorrow, I can ensure that that information is sent through to you, but then it's already out on the public space. So how we then go about doing the outages is that we go for minimal impact with maximum returns in terms of the assets that we visit and we maintain within those 8 hours.
And how long is this planned for, this various rotations, this maintenance that's being done?
All right. So as per the NRS conditions, we are only allowed to go for a maximum of 8 hours per planned outage, right? So at times it happens that we do our maintenance and we complete our maintenance tasks, which is what we always aim for, in less than 8 hours. But then, depending on what we find on site, you find that sometimes we do the maintenance and then there's, unforeseen conditions that then force us to prolong the outage. And at most, we'll probably go for an additional hour or two. And unfortunately, what then happens upon restoration, because when we are off, we are also experiencing certain people who feel that they can then interact with our network in an illegal manner, and we start experiencing theft and stuff like that. So you'll find that when we restore power, certain areas don't come back, and when we do investigations, you realize that you probably have a cable theft that has happened or something like that. But to answer your question directly, our set and standard time for planned maintenance activities are within 8 hours. We must restore power.
Noel Masso, Group Head of Operations at City Power, explaining what's in store for those people in Joburg over the next few weeks as they carry out maintenance.
702.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Let's walk the talk.
So that was Joburg. Let's look at the situation in Ekurhuleni now, because there were protests yesterday in Tembisa to do largely with electricity. Three things that people were protesting about: the restoration of electricity to disconnected households, a review of the city's indigent policy, and the scrapping of debts and pre-termination notices. The MMC for Finance and Strategy, Jongizizwe Labati, addressing residents yesterday and joins us now. MMC, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time. You told residents yesterday about the debt situation in the province, in your metro, the debt currently standing at 1.6 billion rand. Is this the reason that we're seeing the impact on service delivery?
Precisely. The inability to generate revenue, it does have a direct impact on our ability to provide sustainable basic services. And where do we get the money largely for our revenue? It is money that we must collect from the provision of water, sanitation, energy, and waste collection in the main. So where the city is unable to collect and enforce credit control, it will find itself wanting in terms of having a budget that is funded and a budget that is capable to deliver sustainable services. And in turn, the very same community will then complain to us and say we are not delivering services, without answering a question that says, if people don't contribute towards the payment of services, how do you then sustain the provision of the same services that they expect?
The residents in Tembisa say that Tembisa is one of the highest paying areas in terms of municipal accounts, that you've previously said that. Is that accurate?
I cannot dispute that Tembisa, comparing it with other townships except the suburban area, is indeed a high paying area. Safe to say that in the last quarter, the payment levels in Tembisa, they were sitting at 72%. But I can confirm that comparing it with other townships, they are paying. But we do have other suburban areas like Albertine, your Bedford View, that are consistently paying for services.
So Tembisa does pay, but on the same note, Tembisa does have debtors that are due to the city. And yesterday I did report to the meeting after asking for a report from the department. To date, the consolidated debt amount that is owed by Tembisa is 1.6 billion.
One of our listeners sent a message a bit earlier saying, well, why are areas like Catharis, I think it was, why are those areas not being impacted by terminations, but Tembisa is? How do you determine which areas?
So let me explain the difference. So Tembisa is a Ekurhuleni supplied area in terms of electricity, right? The area that you are mentioning, it is supplied by Eskom, and that is the distinction that we must comprehend. Now, Eskom applies its own credit control procedures. So I can't go as the city of Ekurhuleni and instruct Eskom to switch off electricity to its client. Because remember, the core revenue from Eskom, it comes from the buying of electricity. So the difference here is that Tembisa is a Ekurhuleni supplied area, whereas the area that you are mentioning is an Eskom supplied area. However, we do provide other services to all the areas except for electricity. So the only limitation that we have is that we are unable to switch off electricity in an Eskom supplied area because that is not our jurisdiction, that is not our infrastructure, and that is not our authority. So that is where the distinction is.
Thank you. That's very useful. I appreciate your time. Thank you for speaking to us. MMC for Finance and Strategy in Ekurhuleni, Jongizizwe Labati, speaking to us there about the situation in Tembisa. Growing a business is a 24/7 job. In fact, 55% of small business owners say they can never switch off. Usually it's personal moments like missed date nights and long overdue holidays that pay the price. Xero wants to help you claim one back with an emotional tax return. To enter, share a moment you missed while growing your business on Instagram stories and tag @Xero, spelled with an X. Competition ends 22nd March. T's and C's apply.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a work commuter. She's done this route 1,000 times. Perhaps she's daydreaming of a different job or just counting down to the weekend. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just another car in traffic, it's anticipation on the move. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Meetings Africa is celebrating 20 years in 2026. Over the years, Meetings Africa has connected Africa to the world through a consistent showcase of Africa's diverse offering of services and products in the meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibition sector. Join us at the Center Convention Center from the 23rd to 25th February 2026. Register at www.meetingsafrica.co.za. Brought to you by South African Tourism.
Buy any Hills pet food and you could win one of 10 holidays worth 200,000 Rand each. Or take the bucks. Scientifically proven formulas for your pet. An adventure for you. Hills Pet Nutrition. Science does more. T's and C's apply.
And now, it's back to Mandy Wiener on the Midday Report.
This is 702.
Let's walk the talk.
12:58 on the Midday Report. I've been keeping you updated about the situation at Cape Town International Airport, where we understand that parts of the airport have been evacuated. A fire broke out there earlier today. We know it's had an impact on some planes coming in and leaving as well. So Nokokanya Mtambo, EWN reporter, was on a plane heading into Cape Town for the budget. So have a listen to this report that she sent us.
Hi Mandy, we were finally able to disembark the plane that we were on from Joburg coming in to Cape Town. It took about 30 to 40 minutes of being stuck on the runway, and what we were told by the captain on our Fly-Safair flight was that there was a fire that broke out in the international terminal, seemingly caused by an electrical fault by the looks of things at the moment. And of course, safety procedures then had to kick in. About 3 or 4, as far as I understand, fire trucks had to come in to try and contain that particular blaze. And what that of course meant was that nobody who had just landed, or none of the flights that had just landed, were allowed to dock or allow passengers to disembark or come into the airport while that was being dealt with. It has been contained as far as we understand, but of course, implications of that is that the communication lines and the power lines inside are down. It's quite dark actually coming from the carousel and the luggage area going through the passage with the stores and out of the airport into the parking lots. It's quite dark. All the shops along that passage, except for one, of course, are closed as a result of the power outage. Communication lines are also down. Police are on site, and of course the firefighters are on site to contain that blaze in that particular terminal. Communication also from AXA quite scant as a result of the power lines being down. The captain was also unable to get a hold of AXA for quite some time while we were stuck on the runway as a result of that outage, but no injuries as far as we understand. It has been contained, but finally some movement with passengers being able to disembark, coming into the airport and of course out to their various destinations.
Nokukanya Mtambo there sending us that dispatch from the airport. EWN will keep you up to date on that. Lots of other things happening. The ad hoc committee, Sabir's losing it a little bit at the Mpumalanga inquiry. Lots of developing stories. It's 1 o'clock, time for Eyewitness News.
This is EWN.
A fire at the Cape Town International Airport causes disruptions, and police deployed to Coronationville as water protest continues. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Let's begin in Cape Town, where staff at the Cape Town International Airport staff has told passengers arriving from Johannesburg that the fire cut communication lines and has also left parts of the airport in the dark. Fire crews are currently on site to try